project is imaginatively called Aluminium hobnobs, and the reason being that I'm making some knobs for the hob in the kitchen, and they're made from aluminium, hence the name. Also, I bought a new parting tool which I'm quite happy with. I've put this through its paces already, albeit on aluminium, but I bought this tool from RDG Tools. It's a Harlingen. I bought it as a kit, so I'll show you that in a bit more detail in a minute. Before talking about the parting tool though, I'll tell you where we're up to with these little knobs. So just as a reminder, it's an injection moulded plastic knob. It's got quite a few features that I want to try and copy over. The spigot on the back is quite a thin-walled section. That's probably about 1.5 millimeters wall thickness. It's got a D profile to it, and there's normally a little spring clip that goes inside to retain it onto the shaft, which has a flat on it, which is what gives it the grip on the shaft to open and close the gas valve. So this is where we're up to already, and I'll cut to some footage to show you this in a minute. But we've got what looks like a hi-fi knob. So it's all round at the moment. It has a step on it, which I'll explain in a second. Spigot on the back, which is slightly longer, so I'm going to go for a bit more engagement. I've drilled a hole that's 20mm deep. It's a 6mm hole, so I drilled it with a 5.5 first, and then I just opened it out to 6mm. So that should be a nice close fit on the shaft. So instead of the D shape, I'm going to just drill and tap a hole in the bottom here, and then I'll fit a M4 grub screw, which will locate on the shaft. So this is the first one that I've got to this stage. So I've got 7 more parts to bring up to the same stage. So they're just parted off, oversized on length, but the back side and the OD, they're all the same on all of these. So that will be the next operation, and the way I'm doing that is I'm holding on to this spigot. This is an 18mm spigot, holding on to that in a collet chuck, and I'm machining. After I've faced it off to length, I put a 1mm chamfer on there, and but before that I've turned this little step onto here, and the purpose for that is, if I compare these side by side, there's a little taper. I can't replicate this exactly because it's got features that I can't machine without a CNC milling machine. So I'm going to make an approximation to this design. So I'm going to turn a taper onto this section here, so there'll be a witness at about 3mm wide, and then that taper is going to turn down to that intersection in that corner there, which is going to involve putting the compound slide back up onto the lathe, setting that up for that angle. I need to calculate what that angle is first, so I'll do that in just a second. Before I get too carried away though, I'll just make some space here, and we are a little bit restricted on space in here at the moment, as I've already mentioned, but we're doing what we can. So a quick look at this parting tool set that I bought. So this came from RDG. This is the box it came in, and inside is a nice little aluminium box, and so in here, that's where the blade holder was. So in the kit, there's an Allen key, and there's a little tool for removing the insert when it's time to change. There's 5 of each size turning inserts that come with this. These are 3mm wide, those are 2mm wide, and it comes with 2 blades. So this is 2mm wide, and the one I have fitted onto my tool holder is 3mm wide, and it's working really well. Yeah, I'm very happy with it. I did have I didn't have a very good parting tool before, so this is working really well. I'm just keeping it lubed up with a bit of WD-40. It's charging its way through aluminium no problem, as you'd probably expect, but it really makes light work of roughing out material. So on the video that I'm going to cut to in a minute, you'll see me roughing out, well, parting off as well, but roughing out the bulk of the material to form this spigot, and it just makes light work of it. If I were to come in and turn this with a normal right hand turning tool, it would take quite a bit longer. It's only aluminium, you know, it's not a hard material to turn, but it just makes you more efficient in the workshop, and it's a great little tool. So I've been using that under power feed, and it's fine. Okay, so next up then is to bring all these parts up to the same standard. So I need to take the solid tool post mount off, and I need to fit the compound slide back on, get a turning tool set for centre height, and then we can start machining these spigots and turning the tapers on. So that's next.
Johnny was a schoolboy when he heard his first Beatles song. Love me do, I think it was, and from there it didn't take him long. Got himself a guitar, used to play every night. Now he's in a rock and roll outfit and everything's alright. Don't you know? Johnny told his mama, hey mama, I'm going away. I'm gonna hit the big time, gonna be a big star someday, yeah. Mama came to the door with a teardrop in her eye. Johnny said, don't cry, mama, smiled and waved goodbye. Don't you know? Yeah, yeah. Don't you know that you are a shooting star? Don't you know?
I've sketched this next operation now. So here's the blank which you saw in the previous operation. And this is the profile that I'm going to machine on this next op. So I'm going to cut these scallops in so that I've got the bit that you hold with your fingers here to turn it, and so that fits a 16mm end mill nicely. So that's a good match for that radius. So that's what I'll use for that. And then so I've just taken some measurements with the caliper. So I'm going to make the width of this 16mm, and I'm going to machine up the way here so that the centre of the end mill reaches 8mm past the end of the knob blank, and then that should give me a nice fillet here. And if it goes beyond 90 degrees, then I'll just feed out so that we're left with a nice land there, and we should have a nice finish along there. I'll rough by drilling the bulk out first, and conventional milling, and then I'll finish with a climb mill, because I'm going to be holding this in a collet block, but I'm only holding on to that, so I've got to go really easy with the cuts, otherwise I'll end up pulling it out of the collet. I don't want to do that. And then whilst it's in the collet, so I've got everything orthogonal, I'll rotate the part in the collet block so that I can then use that orientation to machine this chamfer around here. I'll also keep it in the same setup so that I can machine this groove in here, up there, along there, and up that taper. So there'll be a few a few features to machine in this one setup, if you like, although it's multiple setups, but I'm holding it once in the collet block. Okay.
Don't you know that you are a shooting star? And all the world will love you just as long as you are. Johnny made a record, went straight up to #1. Suddenly everyone loved to hear him sing a song. Watching the world go by, surprising it goes so fast. Johnny looked around him and said, well, I made the big time at last. Don't you know, don't you know, don't you know that you are a shooting star? Don't you know, whoa, yeah. Don't you know that you are a shooting star, yeah. And all the world will love you just as long as you are a shooting star. Don't you know that you are a shooting star? Don't you know? Don't you know that you are a shooting star now? And all the world will love you just as long as you are. Johnny died one night, died in his bed. Bottle of whiskey, sleeping tablets by his head. Johnny's life passed him by like a warm summer day. If you listen to the wind, you can.
Oh dear, how sad, never mind.
I've machined all 8 to the same stage now. So I've machined these little finger grooves, put it where you can see it. I've machined these finger grooves, both sides, and I've put a chamfer along the 2 edges there like that. So this little chamfer tool is what I used to do that. That worked really well. Got this from Banggood. Wasn't very much, can't remember how much it was, but it was pretty good. So nice finish on these parts now, so they look quite nice. Chamfer's nice and no burrs on it, and that's nice and clean. So the next thing to do is drill and tap the back side now. I did have a bit of a disaster. I broke my one and only 2mm end mill. I milled the slot in the front fine, milled it over the top there, and I was a bit overzealous when I was milling. I had to reset the part in the chuck at the angle to put this slot all the way up to the edge, and yeah, disaster struck and I broke the end mill. So I've ordered some more, so I've got some spares, and but they're going to be a few days before I get hold of those. So I think I'm going to have to put this job on pause until they turn up after I've tapped these holes.
Don't you
Here are the finished articles, all fully machined now, and I've machined some grooves into them, and I've painted the groove with some black paint. So I'm going to let that dry now. I'm going to cook them in the oven, and for about 20 minutes, let the paint go nice and hard, and then jobs are good. So I'll include a little picture of them on the cooker. So yeah, hopefully this will earn me some brownie points. So so this is the end of the video. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and if you like what you've seen, please click the like button, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.